It's the mark of booty.
Shit. Nah. Love the royal priesthood. Mark of Buddha. Sekou the madman. Killer priest. Fourth chambers, full Fuji. This beat sound like something I wear. You dig? Yo, hold on my people, why you walking around like you equal? They wrote you in as 3/5. What we gon' do about this? Talk too much, you end up like Jimi Hendrix in 27 Club. You want that knowledge? Well, I'm the plug. Knowledge itself is the drug. And I keep dropping the nugs. Culture pushing, wisdom spitting. Pimping simpletons into listening. Yawning while you spewing fiction. I can feel the tensions in your intentions. I wonder if that's John's in heaven. If God is white, why he write that bronze was the sun? They give us reparations, that's when the apocalypse begun. Yeah. Red rhyme, okay. Yeah. Red rhyme, better rhyme. Grab your guns, daughters and sons. Wasn't long ago when they had us hung. Blood on the leaves, frontal crumbled in between. Exhale for my ancestors that prevailed. We inhale, so we inhale, dodging death every day. Just happy I'm here to tell the tale. Meanwhile, y'all with the pigs and them tattletales. I'ma just be a scientist if it all fails. Mixing chemicals like a cocktail. My tree smell like it's from the tropical. So not for sale, never settle. Follow the tears on the trail. Nah.
That whole African American thing is to omit, you see, the indigenous black man of this particular land. When we brought the African American term, we cut out all of the Caribbean, all of South America, all of Latin America. This is another way to reclassify you, you see what I'm saying, outside of power.
We got blacks, whites, brown and yellow. We got red, those with dreads found from the ghetto. We got bullet-led and misled, the smile of the devil. On the face of the moon, heart pound like a rebel. Hear the sound of the metal. War in Iraq, 6 feet underground with the shovel. All over the map, the Bible said signs of the time. The Torah said that's your God, not mine. The Holy Quran says it's all Allah's design. The Buddhist says let's meet at the shrine. Thou shalt not eat of the swine. That you is the cut, sure as blue as the blood. Killer priests in the temple, Nehru is the love.
That's a political move that was put in by the government to break you down to this subclass, you see, and not be a world community. So to call you an African American is to disconnect you from that global community and that great diaspora that we were talking about. So that's a political move. Yes, come on. The average Native American was this brother's complexion at the turn of the century. Now when you say Native American, it's some white person with a feather in his hair.
Now when you say Native American, it's a white person with a feather in their head, okay? Right?
Facts.
I want y'all to know what it is. A curly haired Negro with a feather. Oh, wait. I'm not starting like that. I'm going to behave. All right. Peace and blessings. It's your brother Knowledge One Lie here on Do Knowledge Radio. I'm so excited to have my guidance counselor back here in the building. You understand what I'm saying? We here on a special occasion. So I'm going to forego how I normally do. It becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some and to others the dynamic, the phenomenal guidance counselor who is guiding the minds and the hearts of people all around the globe towards wellness, towards health, towards efficacy, towards empathy, with love, with honor, and righteous correction. Let's give it up for the one, the only, Reverend Dr. J.N. Blanco Huskey in the building.
That's an
Peace, Doc.
introduction right there.
I'm bookable. I'm telling you, I'm bookable. Damn. How you been? How you feeling?
I'm well. Happy to be seen.
Yeah, I know today is a special day for you as well. So
It
honest
is.
to you and honest to your twin.
Thank
Forever.
you. Okay.
Nah, we
Thank
cousins.
you.
Okay. I ain't even get a chance to thank you. I just asked you for some stuff and went off into the sunset. Okay, so I was working on my hip hop thesis, and thank you for providing insight in regards to music and how it adds to the mood and how it could take you away from yourself you know, or what's appearing as yourself in that moment. So, I graduated, second in my class, thanks to your, I'm saying. So, honest to you.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah. So we here before we get into, the meat. I want to highlight, what's going on with Hope House, and then, we get into ancestral veneration, and then we end off with Hope House, if that's okay with you.
Okay, no problem.
So, what's going on with Hope House? What's happening, and how can we help?
So Hope House is a compound that we opened up to take in mothers and children that were fleeing really severe domestic violence situations. These places were formerly called battered women shelters and DV shelters, but we don't refer to them as that anymore. We feel like that kind of fosters more of a victim mentality, so we lean more towards a survivor and overcomer mentality. But it's literally an old textile mill that we renovated and turned into apartments. And we take in women and children of all ages, all the way up, youth all the way up to 19, and women of all ages, all creeds, all colors and orientations. Um, I started Hope House because a couple of years back in 2016, I had a cousin named Hope who was in a very violent, abusive marriage. And Hope had two children with this man. And I believe that as long as the abuse was just directed towards her, then she could take it. But when it started to turn towards her children, she started kind of making a plan to get away. Different factors, embarrassment and worried about what people would think, kind of led to her not confiding in some of the people that may have been able to help her. But long story short, she ended up getting away and going to one of these DV shelters, and they did not have room for her. They didn't have room to take her and her children in. And so they had to turn her away. And she returned back home because she didn't have anywhere else to go. And that very night, her husband took her life as well as the life of the two children. And so from that point on, I was like, well, what can I do to be more hands on to keep situations like that from happening? And so I got involved with this foundation and ended up actually taking over ownership to make sure that they don't have that there's no room at the end story anymore. I want to make sure that we've got the room, we've got the resources. I'm able to house up to 60 people. Right now, we have 39, including women and children. But it is a very old building. Like I said, it's a former textile mill. And so this septic system, we've had some issues with it before, but it's completely gone out now. So at this point, I have 15 porta potties and some portable showers that we're operating until we get it fixed. The total cost of it was almost $10,000, a little bit over $9,000 for the repairs and the work to be done. But totally almost $10,000. And we were able to come up with half of that to go ahead and get them started with the repairs. But the city has basically, because there is no proper plumbing, there is no running water in the building right now. We had a deadline of getting it repaired, or at least having the repair order in by the first, or we will have to shut down and find temporary residence for our tenants until we can get it fixed. So we've been scrambling, we've been talking to all the donors, we've been asking for help for different charities, but we don't have any DV shelters in our area anymore. Last year, when that man in that White House got to cutting funding for things, homeless shelters and DV shelters were on that list on the chopping block. And so we don't have a lot of places to refer these tenants out to if we don't get this repair order in. So we're looking at trying our best to get as close to the goal as we can and getting that ball rolling so that they can remain comfortable and safe. Hope House does provide the food, the shelter. Some of the children are homeschooled there. They have on-site nurses, they have on-site counselors. There is on-site security for the more severe cases that may need that in case any estranged spouses show up. And so it's a really nice compound. It's a really helpful compound for this community for some reason. And I think it has a lot to do with some of the opioid problems that we have here, as well as the finances, where things get a little hectic and a little tense in some of these relationships. And so we've seen a spike in the domestic violence in this area. And so it's been really helpful because it is a secure compound. It's not something that I can broadcast fully on social media because some of them are technically in hiding or don't want to be found. And so it's not like a regular charity where I could have the kids come on and give testimonials or some of the residents come on and display it to you guys like that for their safety and their security. So I've just been working with private donors, been asking for donations over the internet. All donations do go directly to Hope House, directly to the maintenance account. It does not come to me. I don't touch it personally. It's not something that I deal with. It goes directly into the foundation. So any help is appreciated. I believe Brother Knowledge has provided a link for you guys to do so if you're able to contribute. We need about 80 people to donate at least $50. And I think under the sound of our voices, we can reach way more than 80 people, but we won't get carried away. The 80 people donating at least $50, we can make this thing shake by the first, and I won't have to displace these families because they've had enough hardship. And I'm big on giving them stability. I'm big on letting these kids especially know that life doesn't always have to be pick up everything and run, or we've got to move here, we've got to go here. I want them to have stability. And so I'm looking forward to working this out, having faith that we're going to work this out, putting that out there into the universe. And we're going to try to make this thing shake by the first in honor of Hope and her two children. Uh, it's work that's dear to my heart for sure.
My bad. My finger slipped over there by the bomb button.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Providing predictability and safety is a paramount concern for me. So whatever I could do to help you already know what it is, because especially with young people, and I think what was it, a couple years ago during the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, but then actually through that time, and I was in Fayetteville at the time, and took a hold of that community. So I know what it's like going from 10 people to 50 people to 150 people. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like 150 youths. And then is DV shelters, like you said, right?
Mhm.
So Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, you understand what I'm saying? And then partnering with a couple of just local people that care. You understand what I'm saying? And one guy in particular, his bar is like a safe place for veterans and their families. So whatever he needed, we did what we did. And then when North Carolina started tripping, like, they had the curfew with the bars and all that, he was not making any money. He kept his place afloat. Him and his wife kept the place afloat out of their pocket. Any money that they had put in, they had come in, they was giving it to other bars in the area and to the shelters. You know what I mean? So we had went on a whole kind of campaign. And then when the stuff started happening with homeless vets, I came a little unglued. Went to the DAV and DFW and vets and had some choice words with some folks. Understand what I'm saying? Homeless veterans in the street, and y'all call yourself anything. Yeah.
Right.
So it was an interesting sort of time. So wrapping the arms around the community,
When we
doing what we can.
first when we first opened, there was a lot more resources. The government was a lot more willing to help. There was a lot more funding that was in place for things like this. We could get different grants and things like that. But with this current administration, the only way that I would be able to get government funding and secure it continuously would be to turn away certain types of residents. And they would say it without saying it. Um, they don't want me to house immigrants. We have a huge immigrant community here, so it wouldn't make sense for me to do that. They even went so far as to say no LGBTQIA people, that that's not considered a domestic partnership to them. And so they didn't want me to house the LGBT youth. They didn't want me to house people who may have been in abusive situations with the same sex partner. They were kind of micromanaging who I could help. And I feel like I'm not with that. Like if that's what it takes to get your help, I don't want your help. I'll figure something else out because I'm not turning away somebody because they don't have a little green card that tells you they can be on your stolen land anyway. I'm not turning away somebody because they love differently than what I do. That's just not the type of heart that I have. So I could definitely get funding, but I would have to go along with these very conservative, very quote unquote Christian values that aren't so Christ like.
Right.
So I'm not interested in that. I'm like, you know what? I'll find any other way than turning people away that need my help.
Finger slipped again. Okay, just bear with me. So the other reason I asked, there's a lot of preoccupation nowadays, especially in the virtual space, with like a concerted effort to distort our natural inclination towards those who have departed amongst us, via our ancestry and lineage. Like it's a buzzword now, but I
Mhm.
think it's more convoluted than ever. You know, it's the ancestors. You understand what I'm saying? The ancestors will be proud. All of these buzzwords, but colloquialism, but not in the realm of practicality, putting these things together. So, uh, could we go back to like 101, what this is versus what this is not type of situation, and just your thoughts overall on what's being circulated, from that perspective.
I think it's very important for us as a community to start really recognizing that anytime that they try really hard to turn you away from something, it's probably something that's good and helpful for you. Anytime that they try to demonize something or make you feel like something is evil or devil worship or something along those lines, it's more than likely something that's good for you. And so when it comes to ancestors, when it comes to venerating our loved ones that have passed on, this is something that has been done since the beginning of time. This is not anything that has anything to do with demons, doesn't have anything to do with the quote unquote devil. This is honoring those who came before you because you literally would not be here if it was not for your ancestors. So we honor them for that reason alone. Even if your ancestors didn't leave you any land or money, even if you never came into contact with them physically, you still wouldn't exist if it was not for them. And so that alone is enough to honor them. And I come across a lot of Black Christians that are like, oh no, you're worshiping your ancestors and that's wrong. No, you're honoring your ancestors. You're venerating them. You're not worshiping them as if they're deities. You're just giving honor to them. And their very Bible that they try to use and hit you over the head to tell you not to venerate your ancestors. How many times does a chapter or a book of the Bible start off with so and so begot so and so begot so and so? What do you think that is? That is an ancestral lineage. And there's so many examples of Moses, of even Jesus going and speaking to ancestors, calling out to ancestors. Sometimes they don't even use God's name. They say the God of Abraham, who was an ancestor. And so there's nothing wrong with ancestral veneration. I feel like if you don't honor those that you came from, how can you have any honor for yourself? If I don't honor my ancestor who fought and died, I have an ancestor who literally was killed for knowing how to read. If I don't honor him by reading as much as I can, learning as much as I can, going to school, something that he just wanted to do so bad, if I don't honor him in that way, then he died for nothing. And so for me, honoring ancestors is a huge deal, especially today on my brother's transition day, my twin's transition day. He was unfortunately, he had his life taken 14 years ago on today. And so today is very special to my family. It's a day where we're not going to cry. We're not going to sit around and mope about it. We're going to celebrate him. We're going to eat good. We're going to laugh. We're going to remember and tell the young ones about him. We're going to look at pictures and share the stories from when we were growing up because it's to honor him and not to sit in grief. And so I think if we as a community get back to ancestral veneration, we'll see such a shift in our energy that is so needed right now that it'll blow your mind. We can't tell where we're going because they're forcing us to not look back where we came from. And so I'm not into that. I'm definitely going to always honor my ancestors at every turn with everything that I do because like I said, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be here. I can't be Reverend Dr. Husky without the mammies, the slaves, the maids, the midwives, the conjurers, the root workers, everyone in my bloodline. I can't be who I am if not for them. You gonna blow it all up before it's all over with.
My finger ain't slipped that time. I actually pushed the button. Okay, I actually pushed the button. Yeah. So what I look like on the internet, like I didn't come from my mother's womb. Whom you met.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
hard work and all of that's supposed to just exit or be contained within two dashes. But this date and this date don't work.
And see, that's another reason why ancestral veneration is so important because your mother is not even my ancestor, but has such a huge impact on my life. Literally gave my grandmother tips on how to keep me alive. So I wouldn't be here at my big age if I had not met this woman as a child who told my grandma, don't feed that baby that. Don't give her that. Don't do that. Make her do this. Don't let her do that. If I hadn't met that, I was low-key scared of her a little bit. But if I had not met that strong will, that woman with so much holistic knowledge, so much knowledge of wellness, I wouldn't even be interested in what I do now. It's because of your ancestor and the way that she honored me in my life with her advice to my grandmother and helping me sustain my life that keeps me here and keeps me going and makes me do what I do for a living. So, not just honoring our own direct bloodlines, but just honoring those that came before us all together is very important.
That's real. They'll tell you that that's demonic, and then they go put on a Kobe jersey
Mm.
and some Jordan sneakers. You understand what I'm saying?
Or better yet, it's so demonic to honor your ancestors, but when we get ready to take down one of these Confederate statues, they have a
Right,
whole heart attack.
right, right. Right. I mean, so it's really just a space of understanding what that is. My priest, oh God, Adi Daniel said, "You honoring stars, them stars are dead." You understand what I'm saying? Them stars are dead. You honoring them stars, they
Mhm.
dead. So, you know, dope. So, yeah, I think that that's something to touch on and strive to educate. What would be kind of like your approach to families, especially with the young people, with introducing them to what they see? So they might be thinking they see ghosts or spooks or energy or spirit or people, uh, to make sense of that.
I think that that's going to take some time in our community because the pale faces, as my grandfather calls them, have done such a great job of turning us against that, of separating us from our own spiritual beliefs and our own spiritual practices and making us feel like it's spooky and it's evil. They've done such a good job of that that the minute that a child displays a spiritual gift like that, we work to shut it down or dismiss it or brush it off. And a lot of children, especially before the age of 7, have that ability to either see or hear or recognize spirit. And then what happens is some adult comes along and says, that's not real. That's your imagination. That's a bad dream. Don't say that. You don't see that. And they make them feel bad about it. And that gift starts to slowly shut down. And so, what I encourage parents to do is, especially if you have a child who's saying they see something or they have an imaginary friend that they always talk about, start asking questions. 9 times out of 10, that imaginary friend that they have is going to start to sound and look like one of your ancestors. Oh, more specifically, an example, my son. My son is when Cat Williams said his son just be running, he don't need no reason. He just run from the time he get up. That's my son. He never slows down. When his feet touch the floor, he is running until he goes to sleep that night. And he is a very curious young man. And anytime that I hear him get quiet, I get nervous. I need to go see what he's doing because he's messing with something. He's only 4, but he's messing with something. And so I heard him get quiet. And I snuck up on him in the room and he was just sitting there very quietly. And I said, "What are you up here doing? You're real quiet." He was like, "Well, I was going to stick this fork in that hole in the wall, but my uncle told me not to." Nobody's in the house but me and Cairo. So who is the uncle? Is the uncle in the room with us? And I said, "What uncle?" He said, "The one with your face." Oh, so my twin told you don't stick the fork in the hole in the wall. What hole in the wall, son? My son was getting ready to stick the fork in the electrical socket. And my brother was like, "Nah, nephew, don't do that." And so my brother, again, has been gone for 14 years. My son is only 4. He's never come into contact with him. He only knows what we tell him and what we show him of my brother. But to this day, he'll tell you he saw him plain as day, and he told him, "Don't stick that fork in the hole in the wall." And so things like that, if I had broken his spirit in that moment and said, "Hey, don't listen to that," or "That didn't happen, you're not telling the truth," or "That's your imagination," what happens if my brother tries to warn him about something else? Now he's going to be blocked off from that. That's separating him from another protector. And so, no, I wouldn't dare. My kids tell me they saw something or they heard something, I'm going to hear him out. Now, sometimes he might tell me he saw a dinosaur with a giraffe neck and a rhinoceros head, and I'm like, "Okay, son, I don't know what that is." But for the most part, if he tells me something and it makes sense, I'm going to listen. And I'm going to encourage him to talk about it more and build that bond. My children know how to service the ancestor altar. They know how to put snacks and offerings up there. They help me light the candles. They know when the water needs to be changed. They know all their ancestors' names that are set up on the table, and they enjoy that. And it's not spooky to them. It's not ghosts to them. My son will tell you these are my family members that live on the other side of the curtain. That's how he explains it. And so it's not something that has to have this mysticism and this spooky air about it. Talk to your kids about their ancestors. Let them talk to you about what they see, what they dream, what they hear, because if not you, then who else are they going to talk to about it?
That's right. They're gonna be on the internet talking to somebody on the internet. Have them
Hmm.
internet it up.
Don't let Chat GPT raise your kids.
Right, right, right. So I want to talk about New Eden University. My family over there. I'm saying the missed them, everything because I missed them too. You understand? And I miss y'all. You how they doing? How's classes
Everybody
going?
is well. Classes are going well. We will have our first graduating class this year, this fall. So I'm excited for that. They
Hey,
are doing really well. We have had, our kinks to work out in our first year, as any university opening would. But what I've learned throughout this process is that people just genuinely want somewhere to learn. And they
mm,
want somewhere to learn that is not so infested with colonialism, that's not so infested with rewritten history. They want to learn
mm,
their stuff the right way, the unbridled version of things. And so I take pride in knowing that when I teach from a space of truth. I teach from a space of encouraging you to go and seek this truth for yourself. Not listening to me because I'm doc, I'm professor, and I'm telling you this is a trusted figure. But I'm teaching you this, I'm showing you where it came from, and I'm showing you where you can find more information about it. I encourage them to be free thinkers. Whereas I feel like in some universities, they want you to put you in a box. They want you to all think the same. They want you to all learn the same way. And that's just not how it is sometimes. And so I pride myself on New Eden University being a school of free thinkers, a school of people that I feel like are being equipped to go out here and change the world in some way. Some on a massive scale, some just locally. But I feel like anybody who comes through that New Eden portal is going to change the world or affect the world in some way.
that's what I'm talking about. I've only been in three environments where I saw the students, or four, the students excited to be there. And
Yeah.
that's a rarity, a rarity. But I've been in four environments, and New Eden is one of those four. You know,
And it makes you feel good as a professor to know that your students aren't like, oh God, we got class again. Or, oh God, she giving us homework. Like I've never experienced that. I've never experienced anybody being like, oh, I can't wait to get out of class. If anything, they be mad when class is over. They still want to keep talking. So
right?
I definitely take pride in that.
Yeah, and that's another overlap. Right? That's another overlap that's consistent with the four spaces that I talked about. They'll talk to people about it. I was in Georgia at an event, and these young black students came up to me and said, "Did you hear about our school? We have a school here." Blah blah blah. They're talking about the school. You better take this flyer that I got. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and
Mhm.
they came to you, well mannered, professional, respect. I was like, are they paying these young people to advocate for this school? Because I believe them. You understand what I'm saying? And when I was up in New York, I went to Q Butter School, and I saw young black children safe. I seen the light in their eyes that still exists, the glow from wanting to learn to, being excited. It's like 7, 8 o'clock. You got to push people out of the door at night. You understand what I'm saying? I saw their parents come and interact the same kind of way. They're excited for their children to learn. They're excited for their children to be in this environment, fostering these ideas in these young black minds. Again, like you said, the people that come through these doors going to change the world. I can see it in them. I had took a picture of a red, black, and green flag that's in the class, and the student was like, "I did that." You understand what I'm saying? I was like, "Oh, word! All right, well, tell me about it." So the amount of zeal that they have for learning, that's not stifled. That doesn't have to be recreated, or they don't have to pretend. You see what I'm saying? And, when I was in class with your students, even though I'm a wayward student, you understand? So uh, the environment is powerful, it's captivating, and everybody's engaged, and everybody is themselves. I don't see anybody trying to be something other than themselves, and that's another through line in that environment. Like, they don't have to put on something to try to pretend, because we're in such a performance arts driven content based environment that people think that's it. That's who they have to become. So you never get a chance to know them. You get to know the character. Like Tariq
Right.
from Power. You know what I'm saying? Like, that man's name is Michael Rainey Jr. He's not Tariq. You understand what I'm saying? But people were so enamored with the character that they're like, "Yo, Tariq, I'm telling you, son." Like, they're calling him Tariq. Like, they still call Tashina on her Pam. 30 years ago, like, she's still Pam. Like, she don't. So that kind of impact in this performance arts driven sort of environment has the other people that's on the outside like, "Well, I'm just me." You know, I have to become somebody else. I have to create an alter ego or whatever the thing may be for them to be able to show their skill, their arts, their talents, right? So, thankful for your environment. Thankful for your guidance and your teaching style as well, to know how to be able to connect with people, and with grown people, like with children. If you don't spark something in their mind, in an environment for them to be able to question, they won't. They'll have questions, but they won't voice them. They'll keep them to themselves. I definitely
Absolutely.
know that them nuts and crystal stars that roll with you, they're gonna ask a question. Mother.
100 of them,
You
if I let. But
understand
you
what I'm
know,
saying?
I
So
think I think the most important thing when it came to shaping both my teaching style and my counseling style as a therapist is I feel like people pay more attention to the way that you make them feel than what you say to them. I can lecture you and give you all of this information. But if I don't make you feel what I'm saying, if it doesn't resonate with you, if you can't see yourself in what I'm saying or see how it relates to you, it's going to go on one ear and out the other. And when it comes to people believing or holding on to more so what they feel than logic sometimes, it's important to use that as a positive tool. So, an example of this is like you were saying, how they still call this young man Tariq, like that's what his mama named him. My mother is the queen of that. Now, my mother is a very educated woman. She logically knows that the actor's name from this movie is Michael Ealy from For Color Girls. She knows that this man is an actor. She's not delusional by any means. But to this day, my mama is mad at Michael Ealy for dropping them babies out that window in that movie. I'm positive if my mama runs into Michael Ealy, they're gonna have some words because he dropped them babies out the window in that Tyler Perry movie. Her feeling overrides the logic of it. And so for me, when I'm teaching, I want for you to feel what I'm saying so that it sticks with you. And I want for you to feel what I'm saying and feel what you believe so much so that even if it's 100 people telling you, no, you shouldn't feel that way. No, you shouldn't think that way. You shouldn't believe that way. You stand 10 toes on what it is you believe. I even encourage my students to disagree with me, especially when we're doing things like religious classes, the theology classes. Disagree with me, but be able to explain to me why you disagree with me. Be able to explain why you're standing firm in what you believe as opposed to what I'm telling you. And as long as you can do that, you're going to ace my class. But if you're telling me you believe something just because your granny believed it and because your preacher said this and your Sunday school teacher said that, you're going to have a hard time in a class with me. But if you can stand flat and say, I'm a Christian because I believe this and the word says this and this is how I feel, I'll honor that and I respect that whether I agree with it or not.
Had to push the button again. Okay. All right. So researching, teaching, writing, facilitating, being of service, right? Um,
Mhm.
how do you navigate all of those things that we know and the things that we don't know? Because there's a billion things we don't know in that world, and kind of keep everything in order.
Navigating through it is sometimes difficult because I have such a heart for service, such a passion for service, that sometimes it's very easy to prioritize service to other people over service to myself. And so that's the part that I've struggled with over the years is balancing that out of taking care of me so that I can take care of others. When I wake up in the morning, now I'm at a space where I make sure I'm good. But it used to be I wake up in the morning and I grab my phone to make sure everybody else is good. And then I worry about me last until I realize you can't pour from an empty cup. I can't pour from an empty pitcher. If every time somebody comes to me and says, I'm thirsty, I need a drink, I'm always pouring and pouring from my pitcher, what happens when I get thirsty and there's nothing left? And so I've learned over the years, and it took me some time, but I've got it now to take care of me first, make sure that I'm charged, make sure that I'm refilled so that I can pour into other people. You can't let the well run dry. And so that's probably the hardest part about navigating it. But when you have a genuine passion for it, when you genuinely care about other people and you care about making a difference, it just comes easily. It whatever I have to do, if I have to fundraise, if I have to offer services for free, if I have to go to this meeting or this event or this conference, whatever it is that I have to do to make my resources better, to fill up my well, I'm going to do that so that I can pour out into others. If you don't really genuinely have a passion for service and you're just out here doing it like the people that go feed the homeless because they want to make a TikTok video, that there's no honor in that. Yeah, that homeless person got a meal that day, but they also got exposed and put on blast on social media to make your ego feel better. And so I don't agree with that. If I go out here and I feed the homeless today, don't nobody know me but them people in the sandwiches that that I gave them. Nobody else has to know about that. That's not something that I do to get a pat on my back. Hope House isn't something that I do to get a pat on the back or New Eden or any other services that I offer. I do it because I have that heart for service.
All right. Final thing before we get back to Hope House. I know you done wrote some books, as well. So I can't, not have you talk about the books that you wrote, that motivation to write and to continue to write and bring these characters, so to speak, to life. Character development and the process of tapping into people's spirit. Especially our women and our children.
Mhm. My daughter always jokes with me. She's 10 and she says, Mama, I didn't know you in your Remy Ma days. I only knew you in your Erica Badu days. And so younger me was definitely a much different version than what I am now. Younger me was in these streets. And I have lots of stories to tell because of that. I experienced lots of things, good and bad. I learned lots of hard lessons, but I also came into some awesome blessings while I was out there too. And so my way of kind of navigating through that for myself is I started writing. I started writing these stories down. I started writing these lessons down. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I'm going to get it out. And the more that I wrote, the more that I was like, this sounds like a good ass book. This sounds like something that I could really make into something. And so I started working on these series of books that were basically influenced by my life before the spiritual awakening. I got, like my daughter said, my Remy Ma stage. And so um, I think that, there's definitely more books coming. I did release the first book in each series, one being Hollyoak Volume 1, the series, and then the Ride or Die series, where it just appeals to young people navigating through street life, navigating through relationships and family ties, and just making it as life be life. And so I'm proud of my books. Those are my babies, and I'm interested in seeing how far they go. They're all available on Amazon. Easily searching my name, all of them will come up. But yeah, I'm very proud of that. That's probably one of my favorite things that I've done in the last couple of years.
So I'm talking about. I'm writing a series of books now because I thought it was gonna be one book, right?
Mhm.
And I talked with one of my spiritual sisters, Miss Blue, and she was like, "What about the transition? People coming back from war, right, and then transition out of the military." Like,
Mhm.
now I got to delve into that black experience, right? Because the book is based on you know time in the military, time in combat, and a lot of these other things from the inside, but also the outside propaganda wars associated with getting people into military service and how that affects us more than anything. One of the things that I always bring up is Charlie Sheen is Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is not whatever character he's playing. When they see him, they say that's Charlie Sheen. But somebody black, they'd be like, that's Chauncey from Minister Society. You understand what I'm saying? That's Cuddy from Dead President. That's not
Mhm.
Clifton Powell. That's Pinky. Pinky. You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? So, you know, when I saw that, I was like, okay, so how do I make the breakthrough? How do I make the connection? Because if you're talking about somebody's religion, forget about it. You're talking about somebody's Bible, their Quran, whatever the case may be, you're going to have to fight. And ain't nobody going to be just arguing you down about a movie or a television show or some music. So I was like, this becomes something that stays longer and has the propensity to do more benefit or more harm than any of these other things. Right? So if somebody's walking up, the guy Tommy from Power said these dudes in Chicago rolled up on him, rolled down the windows, and put them pistols out of the window. And he said he was so terrified that he appeared stoic, like he just looked at him because he was stuck. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it was like, yeah, I told you, Tommy, one of the real, N words, blah, blah, blah. So if they cannot separate the fact from the fiction in that kind of realm,
Mhm.
then that's something that needs to be looked at and something that needs to be studied. So, it's not by accident we was playing Contra on Nintendo and we remember the code like it was yesterday for 30 minutes. you
Mhm.
know, like the Iran Contra situation wasn't happening at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So the jungles, the gorillas, the Rambos, the Chuck Norris, to Charles Bronson, all of these things in regards to propaganda wars, down to GI Joe, down to Transformers, things like that. So it's like all of these things was something that was happening on the outside that affected the inside. And then I looked at wrestling, like, oh man, this is a whole another world. This is where the things actually got played out. So I'm like, we look at the military service, look at the transition, but then when I spoke with Miss Blue, she was like, well, what about coming back home to your families? And let me talk to Dr. Huskey and see what we need to do in regards to that, because we both know the transition coming back from combat and then working with families with all of those things. But I don't know if we know how to marry both sides together. You're in combat, but so are they. You was in a stressful
Right.
situation, and so are they. So all of these things all together, and then both of y'all are ousted out after you leave the military, and both of y'all have to transition back into a society that was a known to you and now is an unknown. And then,
Hmm.
negative attitudes towards service, things like that. That's just another strike in regards to, black life as a whole. And then your PTSD, meeting with their PTSD just from the neighborhood, just from the Black American experience. You understand what I'm saying? And understanding and navigating the challenges. So, yeah, there I go with another book series to address the concerns from not just the propaganda perspective, but now the after effects and tips and strategies of properly reintegrating in society. So, from the military industrial complex to the prison industrial complex, everybody's been away and people are coming home. You understand what I'm saying? So, institutionalization happens over here like it happened over here.
Right.
So,
And that's as a story that needs to be told. And one that unfortunately in our community isn't told very often, because the Black community in general has that take a licking and keep on ticking mentality. Things
right,
happen and we just feel like we gotta keep going. We don't get the opportunity to stop and figure it out. We don't get the opportunity to just hit pause and reset like some of these other communities do. We don't get that opportunity after high school to go backpack through Europe for a year and find
find
ourselves.
ourselves.
Like, you find yourself very early in a Black
Right,
household because your mama told you who the hell you was and you better not be nothing other than that.
right,
So I think that it's important for people like you, for our griots, for our storytellers to come through and shine a light on that. Because when I came home from the military, I felt so out of place. I did not feel like a civilian at all. And it took me years to even feel somewhat like a civilian. I had been trained and conditioned to separate myself from the civilians, not necessarily in a I'm better than you sense, but I'm over here protecting you. Like I'm almost on a different level than you. And so now I have to come back into this civilian environment and I don't know how to be a civilian anymore.
right,
And the same thing happens with prisons. They've been in this institution where they were pretty much controlled by somebody else. They were told when to eat, where to go, how to dress, what to do. And then you throw them back out in society and they have to adjust to being able to do those things without instruction. And sometimes that's just harder for others to adjust to than than some. So I think that it's important for people like you to shed light on that. We had so many of our Black men come back from Vietnam messed up, and all the family did was say, Uncle a little touched. Just let him sit in that back room
mm-hmm,
and watch TV. Don't make no loud noises and don't bother him and don't eat his snacks. that's,
mm-hmm,
that's basically all they did. There was no therapy. There was no talking about it. There was no asking them questions, letting them express themselves or vent some things out. It was just leave them alone and let them balance themselves out. And that's not what's needed for some people. Um, and so, yeah, I applaud you for even taken that approach to want to go ahead and shed some light on that, because when it comes to veterans in general, but especially Black veterans, we're looked at as, well, you signed up for it and you'll be okay.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
you're gonna be all right. You tough because you're a soldier, so you can handle it. When in reality, mentally, we may be shaking and screaming on the inside, but on the outside, we GI Joe and GI Jane because that's what we've been conditioned to do. And so even when we want to open up and we want to vent and we want to talk about it, sometimes some of us can't because we've been conditioned to just keep going. So yeah, I'm definitely glad that you're going down that path.
Yeah, they ain't got no Dr. Huskey in the VA. You know what I'm saying? Need to trying to talk to somebody about service. I remember I talked about a combat situation with a VA raider, you know,
Mhm.
a psychologist, and he looked like he was terrified for his life. I was like, that's like one engagement. That ain't the other 1,500. That's one.
Mhm.
He was like, oh my goodness, like his eyes are bugged out. So if you're not in that space, you don't have that. I know they have like peer to peer support counselors and stuff like that. And they doing whatever they can, but it's not like sitting down with somebody who understands exactly what you're going through because they went through it versus
Right.
somebody who read some slides and some books and they wrote a bunch of papers about something. Not saying that they can't
Mhm.
help, but there's another level of trust that's there to actually extend to somebody. That's why I thought that was going to be my field. And I
And I
guess the
think it's
books is the field.
important for us to recognize that whether it's coming out of a hostile street environment, whether it's coming out
Mhm,
of prison or coming out of the military, a certain desensitization takes place where
mhm,
you become extremely desensitized to things. Most people who have not been in one of those three situations, the streets, the prisons, or the military, if somebody was to lose their life right in front of you, you're going to panic. There's a state of
mhm,
shock that takes place. But for us that have been in those three realms, it's more, okay, what do we do about it now? We don't have time to stop and even acknowledge what just
right,
happened, or
right,
we can't afford the shock, and the sensitivity is, okay, now what do we do next? And so when we don't acknowledge being desensitized to things and we continue to move through life without that sensitivity, it can cause us to be very cold. It can cause us to be distant. It can cause communication issues with our loved ones. It can cause relationship issues because now we are always on a mission. Like
mhm,
we're always constantly trying to figure out from the time we wake up, what's the mission for the day? What are we getting accomplished today? Did I get this thing accomplished today? If I did, then the mission is accomplished. If I didn't, then I failed and I need to try it again tomorrow. And that's how our minds get conditioned to work instead of just sitting in the moment, enjoying what's going on, being able to relax and just observe without that paranoia, without
mhm.
that anxiety. And so, yeah, coming out of those three spaces, therapy is much needed. Journaling, writing, just talking about it in general is much needed. And that's not something that we often encourage, especially the men in our community, to do.
That time the button pushed itself. It was like, all right, cool. So
I
we're
had to
gonna
tell
wrap
a
up.
young lady yesterday, her son fell and skinned his knee. And
Mhm,
he was crying. He looked like maybe he was about my son's age, maybe 3 or 4. But he fell and he skinned his knee, and so he was screaming and crying. And the first thing out of her mouth was, "Shut up, little boys don't cry like that. Are you a little girl?" And I stopped her
mhm.
immediately because no, ma'am, you are creating a fuck boy when you do that.
What up?
When you teach your son that it's not okay for him to express pain or sadness or emotion or hurt, When you teach him to bottle up his emotions when he's hurt, he's going to grow up and he's going to be with some woman where he's not able to express how he feels. And you're going to put that woman through the ringer, all because you told him little boys can't cry, little boys can't feel. So I stop that anytime I see it. I've had plenty of moms get mad at me and want to have words with me. And girl, you can't beat me up, so just be mad. But I don't like that. My son, he might fall and cry for 30 seconds and he gonna be on messing with something else that's gonna hurt him in the next few
Yeah.
minutes. But I allow him to express himself. I allow my kids to tell me that they're angry with me. I allow my kids to tell me that they don't like something that I did. They better do it in a respectful manner. But you're welcome to tell me that you don't agree with something that I did and tell me why. I apologize to my kids. And that's something that blows my mama's mind because she's looking like,
Mhm.
did you just tell her you're sorry? Yes, mommy had a rough day today. I snapped at you a little bit. I apologize. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. Let's talk about what
Ooh.
you wanted to talk about. And she
Yeah.
be looking at me, you know, my mom was African. So my mom,
Yeah.
she be looking at me like, you said what now? But that's important. Catch them as kids and teach them emotional regulation. Teach them that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Instead of teaching them to be little soldiers, you're not raising no limit soldiers all the time. You're supposed to be raising well rounded individuals and sending them out into the world to be decent human beings.
Yeah.
Don't stifle them by not allowing them to express themselves.
That's a bar in about.
You done
But you
dropped
know,
more bombs than Trump today. You got
I don't
going
know.
on.
Yeah. Put this up here one more time. Let's talk about for the people who might have came in here late. You know what's going on and why we're here, and I'll put the link in the chat one more time.
Okay. Just for anybody who just came in, we do have a domestic violence compound called Hope House, where we do house people fleeing severe domestic violence situations, mothers and children who have been in abusive situations and need housing, need medical care. We have homeschooling, we have on site counseling, on site nurses, security as well. We feed them, we clothe them, we pretty much provide anything that they need to help them get back on their feet. And because this building is an older building, it is a remodeled textile mill, the septic system has gone out. And so we do not have proper plumbing and running water the way that we need to keep the facility running. Right now, we have some temporary porta potties and portable showers that we are using, but it's not up to code, and we have until the first to get a repair order in, or I will have to temporarily shut down Hope House and find placement for the residents, which is not easy in this area because we don't have many shelters available. So we are asking anybody who is able, if you find it in your heart, to donate to Hope House. We need at least 80 people to give at least $50. And, you know, there's lots of y'all, like I said, under the sound of our voice. So you would think that 80 people isn't hard to come by, but you know, in this financial time, this financial climate, sometimes it is. But if we can just get 80 donations of $50, we can pay for the septic system in full, get it completely replaced with a new one, and keep Hope House running and keep doing the good work that we're doing in the community. So, Brother Knowledge has dropped the link there below. And I'm going to be blasting the link on my socials as well today because we have just a few more days to get this thing right so that we don't have to displace these women and children.
Most definitely. So link. This is what the link looks like. It's real. Okay, we gotta go through all of that stuff. Like it's real. These are real people that are benefiting from this anonymity to be able to thrive and to be able to live. You know, so do everything within our power to make sure that we help this initiative do what it needs to be done. you can donate, share it with somebody who can. Share it with 10 people who might be in a position to do something. So your involvement is predicated on your share, getting the word out, getting it to your network, getting it to your people. Let's do that. Reverend Dr. J.N. Blanco. Okay. Big Blanco. That's in the building. And thank you for your time.
I think
Thank
your
you for
sound
your
went
love.
out for a minute.
Can you hear me? Well, let's see. Mic check, can you hear me?
The painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the wheel is torn. I clutch in a ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you. In a reoccurring nightmare, where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him, then he showed me a picture of his daughter in a cap and gown. He said he put her through college because your words stood up for knowledge. Said, to be honest, you like a prophet. I said, stop it. He said, what?
Mic check, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we lost you on the sound, Brother Knowledge.
Yep,
I'm not
yep.
sure. Are you still able to hear me? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I do thank you for allowing me to come on this platform to present to your viewers the situation with Hope House. Hopefully we can get it resolved. Hopefully, this won't be an issue any longer. We can go ahead and keep this Hope House thing rolling. But even the other things that we touched on, not just Hope House, with the ancestor veneration, with seeking help for different mental health issues like PTSD, like veterans returning home, and just encouraging conversations and counseling within the Black community altogether. I'm thankful that you have a platform to promote things like that.
Upon these technical difficulties, Mercury is upon us, okay? It's about to start retrograding, so.
All right, y'all. We're still having some technical difficulties, but as always, thank you for tuning in to Do the Knowledge Radio, as my brother likes to say. You can reach us both on our socials that are listed here on the flyer and the link below in the comments to donate. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm sure I'll be back soon, even though he's going to claim he had to beg me. Don't listen to him. I'm sure I'll be back soon to chop it up with you guys. But thanks for tuning in, family.
No, we didn't check then. Swear to God, we finna get all this money. Watch what I tell you.
they pretty, but to me it's not for play. Power in my jury, clear the scene like an AK. Full body protection, looking clean every day they so. Hey, don't touch my elake. You may think they pretty, but to me it's not for play. Power in my jury, clear the scene like an AK. Full body protection, looking clean. And I say I shit. I gotta say I shit. I shit. And I say I shit. Elegba, Oshun, and Obatala. And I say I shit. Mokio. I shit. And I say I shit. And Oya, and Shango, and Yemoja. I got it. Currency in my pocket. Nature around my neck. Front and center, I rock it. Never tuck them, so folk wanna touch them, they need to stop it. Trying to find them on lines like mine, you never cop it. My LK is living, reason why I be winning. Jealous of my position, but I'm just at the beginning. Demonizing the forces, no intercourses I'm giving. Christians feel like I'm sinning the way the heavens be bending for me. I'm in the flow, I get the dough, I'm giving more. It's reciprocal, every dose could be poison or be medicinal. Truth is blatant to those who know what to listen for. Yeah, a treasure chest in every mic check. Steady in the altitude and we ain't on the flight yet. Calling me the champion, I ain't even want to fight yet. Moochers sticking to us for that juju that they might get. Hey, don't touch my elake. You may think they pretty, but to me it's not for play. Power in my jury, clear the scene like an AK. Full body protection, looking clean every day they so. Hey, don't touch my elake. You may think they pretty, but to me it's not for play. Power in my jury, clear the scene like an AK. Full body protection, looking clean. And I say I share. Somebody say I share. I share. And I say I share. Egongo, Babaluaye, and Ita. And I say I share. Mokio, I share. And I say I share. Ochosi, Ogun, and Orumila.
I got them holy beads around my neck. Them sacred guides on deck. Yep, it gets protection all around. Kosi Wahala, big blessings abound. I'm open to receive all the things this universe is laid at my feet, and I'm walking yellow brick road and laid with gold. Oh yeah, I get it from my mama, she reigning on her throne. La de Koju, Oriye Oshun, Hell Sea Water Goddess, keep that blade and some honey. Lord, she just keep going, hard to stop when she gets started. A river flowing, anointed from head to toe, baptized. Got Orisha by my side, and my eagle all around. Ain't nothing stopping me now, full force on them, full glow on them. Spirit realm said go, so I move for them, a walking altar.
And I say I share. I share. And I say I share. And I say I share. I share. And I say I share. And I say I share. I share. And I say I share. And I say I share. I share. And I say I share. Hey, don't touch my elake. You may think they pretty, but to me it's not for play. Power in my jury, clear the scene like an AK. Full body protection, looking clean every day they so. Hey, don't touch my elake. You may think they pretty, but to me it's not for play. Power in my jury, clear the scene like an AK. Full body protection, looking clean.
Yeah, see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Woo! You didn't hit him, Baba. 10, 2, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. God. 20. Great day. Who this messing my count up? Alive for you, bruh. I told you we was gonna hit. Yeah. Shoot, I'm counting me and Baba out right now. I'm waiting on Sunday to come out, hit her. We good. She finding out right now. We checking in. Hold on. Good. About to hit him again.